Oops. Oh my God. Ugh. Trying to get my... This is where touchscreen has its limits. Okay. Okay. I think I'm live. Yes. I'm going to wait another 2 minutes until it's 9 o'clock, which is when I said I was going to be live this morning. Oh, help. I just had a little accident with my Molitive masking liquid. I shook the what do you call this, a flask, a little bit too well, so it was everywhere. I hope it's not in my tea. I don't see it. If it is, there won't be any stains on the inside. Haha. So it's almost 9, and then I'm going to start painting. Good morning. I'm about to start painting. I was just cleaning up a few remains of a little masking fluid accident I just had. So good morning, everyone. I'm about to start painting and chatting. How nice to see you. Every time I go online, I go live in the morning, I think I'm going to be alone. But it's great to see there are actually people awake in the world already, or still, and who have time to join the party. Are you awake, guys? I'm not. I have to be honest. This morning was a hard wake up. Hello, Catherine from Montana. Very good morning. Yes, very, very good and very early morning to you too. Montana, that's a long way from here. It's about on the other side of the world from here, isn't it? I'm from the Netherlands. Maybe you already know. I have to say that I haven't done that many lives yet, so I don't really know who my audience is, if they are people who already follow my channel and know that I'm going live, or that it's people who just go look for live broadcasts and then end up here seeing me for the first time. So for those I want to say, my name is Mandy van Gooijen. I am a Dutch artist illustrator, and I prefer to work with water-based media, watercolor especially. And sometimes you might see me add different things as well. And I've decided to try and go live in the morning rather than in the evenings, because in the evenings, usually, you know, going live is rather intense because you have to both do your paintwork well and chat. That's why I do this, because I like to be in touch with people and have a chat over my art. But it's quite intense, so I figure, you know what, let's do it in the morning and let's wake my creative brain up this way. And so far I really like it. This is the third live I'm doing in a row. So I can't hit it off straight away with my watercolors because I just applied Molotov masking fluid. But the thing is, actually, you need to do this with a special marker. The only thing was I couldn't find my marker anymore, and all I had was the refill. So I did it with my refill, and that led to a very, very thick layer of masking fluid. So I have to give it another few minutes to dry. And this is something I don't dry with a blow dryer because masking fluid compared with heat will do crazy stuff. So this is the one time you will not see me rushing it with a dryer. But in the meantime, I do have things to say. I talk a lot, so there's always things to say, right? Right, you now are witness of a very special moment to me because if you follow my channel, you know that I've been reviewing watercolors, and doing so led to manufacturers and viewers sending me lots of paint over the years. And the thing is that right now, this is the very first tube of paint. It's Rembrandt Quinacridone Rose, or Quinacridone Rose Reddish. This is the first tube that I have finished because I've used it so much. So for the first time, I'm going to have to order a new tube to refill my paints because I do have a little of it left in a few palettes here and there, but then I'm out of it. And I compared it to all the other PV 19s, and I really like this one very much. If you see, this is the ideal palette I composed a while ago, and if I look on my screen, the colors are not as wonderful as they are in real life, but this is the PV19, and I think it's Rembrandt color number 367. And I think it's the most beautiful PV19 in that it holds a very good balance between a warm and a cool pink. And it really stood out in the range of colors that I picked. And also in mixing, I felt this one was the most beautiful one of them all. Of the brands that I have, right? There may be other brands that are more beautiful or as beautiful, but anyway, I'm going to order a big tube of this, so the 20 milliliters. And what I found out is that they come very affordable here in the Netherlands. It's for just under or just over 10 euros, which is dramatically cheap, dramatically affordable. So I'm going to have myself that one, and for a few other colors I want to have, to prevent myself from not having it. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And the second thing I want to say, and this is not really watercolor related, but it was my birthday last week, and I got some money for my birthday. And one of the things I bought from that was this book by Alison Bechdel, The Secret to Superhuman Strength. And I've only just begun reading it. But it's absolutely fantastic. If you're into graphic memoirs, graphic novels, and if you're into sort of philosophical reflections, then this book is definitely the way to go. It looks as if it's about sports, and it is, but the way she tells the story and the way she, talks about her philosophical ponderings is just marvelous. She's a wonderful storyteller. So that's something that you should definitely keep in mind if you're into that. Right. I didn't talk long enough. My Molotov is still not dry yet. I'm going to paint. I'm going ahead. Let's see. Then I should change the game because I wanted to start with the background, but then I'll start layering the first layers of the wings. Oh, hold on. I need to do my first layer of water first. So any of you who've been here this week will know that when I do my sketches with graphite, the first layer I apply to any page is water, because the water will sink the graphite into the paper somewhat, so you won't smudge it with your brush. You need to apply it carefully though, don't rub too hard. And I used an HB pencil, so this area is dry, but not everything is dry. I have to be so careful now because I could ruin my page even before I begin. Well, I've always purchased a lot of art supplies because I'm rather crazy about finding out pigments and stuff. So I've been ordering art supplies, but it's always been, you know, either for reviewing, sorry, I have a frog in my throat. It was either for reviewing purposes or just sheer curiosity. So this is actually the first time I'm ordering a new tube of watercolor because I run out, because I used it that much, and because I don't have another brand here that I find equally interesting to work with as well. And yeah, it is kind of a good feeling, that's true. I'm also going to order Winsor & Newton Aqua Green, Aqua Blue Green. It's the one that only Winsor & Newton have. I really like that color as well. Aqua Green it is, I think. Let me see. Yeah, Aqua Green. So that's one I want to have a big bottle, big tube from as well. So going in very, very carefully now, because last thing I want to do is smudge my it will dry eventually. Okay. Now I'm going to precision blow dry, because I don't want to blow dry the masking fluid, because I don't know what it does. I haven't tried yet, but I won't. Of course, it is something plasticky, right? So I'm afraid I'm going to set it on fire. There's a few specks of dust here. Hold on. I already know how that happened, because I had a little accident with my masking fluid just now. I shook it and the lid wasn't, the cap wasn't on properly. So when I shook it, there were bits of it flying everywhere. So I'm wetting the entire page, also the area that I'm not going to paint, but yeah. So I'm going to blow dry this way and not that way. I'm going to try and prevent that part from becoming warm. Sorry for the noise. That will do for now. So it's not fully dry, but that's all right. Having a morning tea as well. I had such a hard time waking up this morning. I think it's, you know, it's getting colder outside and it's getting darker again over here. And my biological clock is telling me that no way, it can be time already to get out of bed. But yes, it was. So, okay. I won't be needing the big brush anymore. If anyone wants to know, this is a Zen Art Faux Squirrel round brush number 10. It's a synthetic brush and it's rather sturdy, and I quite like it for applying water to the background of such a small page. So the other brushes I'm going to be working with, this one is a nameless brand. It's a travel brush, we think by Escola. One of the viewers helped me identify it, and I think so too, but I'm not sure. It's a lovely brush though. It's natural hair, so it can hold a lot of water. And the other brush I'm going to be working with is Leonard Round Series 20 Ruby Round, number 4. So this is a precision brush, synthetic hair, and I work with these a lot. I buy them by 20 at the same time. So I don't know if, no, I don't have the other brush here, I think. Let me see. No, but usually I wear them down until they're about 3 millimeters, and then I start using a new one. So, but they wear quickly because I use them that much. Right, so I'll show you what I'll do. Last Monday I painted this Angle Shades moth, and I saw it in the garden. I photographed it and then I painted it realistically. and I wanted to make some spin-off creatures, fantasy creatures. So I sketched a few, and Tuesday I colored this one with watercolor. Um, and yesterday I did this one. So going, I'm sort of like exploring characteristics of this animal that I could use in a character. So here I painted a little, well, a bug-like creature, and then the butterfly sort of became helmets or something. And I quite like it. This was a long paint. This was a long paint session because I painted live for an hour and a quarter, and then I went back to afterwards when I stopped filming. It took another few hours for me to finish. So, and now I'm doing this one. She's got the rolling tongue of a butterfly and the wings, and I gave a sort of like, well, I don't know what it is. And definitely she's got an insect-like figure, although she's also very feminine, of course. And so let's see. What characterizes this butterfly, what I found rather dramatic when I read it, is that these butterflies, they lose color over the season. So they actually start out being olive green and brownish pink, but as the season wears on, they fade. So these butterflies are not light fast, and that's such a pity. So I've been mixing PV19 by Rembrandt and what's it called? Titan Buff by Daniel Smith. And I'm looking to find a pale kind of pink, a faded pink. And it needs to be very lightly applied because, watercolor becomes really great when you make sure you have transparency. So here we go. Now, the one challenge about painting this one is that there is going to be, here is the body and here are the wings. And the wings are definitely a different color in the body. No, the wings are definitely a different color from the body. So I'm going to have to find a way to separate the wings from the body, but I drew them as if they are one. So that's going to be interesting. Oh. I'm just gonna let the colors fade over there. So here I'm gonna just see what happens if I, let them wash them into each other. Is that a term? To wash them into each other, to make a gradation. Right, I'm gonna add a little depth here around the armpit. But then I'll have to make sure this area is dry, or else it won't work the way I want it to work. Okay, this will work. So the darker color you see me using now is in fact the same mixture, it's just got more Titan buff in it, and that's why it becomes a little bit brownish pink. So it's basically the same color. So I'm sticking to the I'm sticking to letting myself be inspired by, you know, the actual butterfly color wise. So that's what's going to connect these creatures together, because they're all very, very different. I love this color of pink, by the way. It reminds me of those antique-like romantic roses, red ones with a bit of brownish pink. Mm. Yeah. Okay, this is good for a first layer. And then for the background, so I am in doubt. I can either, I had a little bit of indigo left. So, you know, this is a moth, a night. This really is a night owl. So I was thinking of indigo. This is creamer indigo, by the way. Or yesterday I used Perylene Green, which I think is also a very nice evening color. And it really fits the rest of the colors well. Although this time I will not be using the steel blue. This time I want to stick to the warmer colors. I want to stick to this color composition. So the older pink, the pale pink with the olive green and the ochre colors. What would go? So I think maybe a dark blue background could be better, because I think this, if I would just look at this, that would be really, yeah, I think that would be better. Or another option could be that I mix together. Oh, yes. Haha, that's going to be it. Okay, problem solved. So I need to clean up a little area for some mixing purposes. Oh, that's a lovely color, by the way. Wow. I'm going to remember that. It sure is pretty. Okay, Perylene Green. Look at that. Wow, that's like a mystical night sky color. Gorgeous. That's something like over time, you get, when you do watercolors, you become good at you know, figuring out what colors to use. Oh, that's going to be lovely. Yes. Do I want it even darker? I could try to go for even darker for the first layer. It's dangerous, but okay. Let's add just a little bit more. I'm cleaning the vial where I put my creamer indigo in. Okay, so Let's see if I can make it even darker. Didn't get much darker, did it? But anyway, we can always do a second round. Okay, I'm going to turn it around because I want to be sure. And before I do, oh, it's still sticky, this stuff. So I have to still be careful, right? So, and not put my hand on it. That's going to be a challenge. You know what? Hold on. I want it to be really tight, neat. I want it to be neat. So I'm gonna take this off. This tape is rather weak. It's very, it doesn't stick too good, which is exactly what I want right now. Okay. And then I'm going to put something under my palette. A little brush to make all the paint run down. So it gets easier for me to pick up here. Okay. This kind of precision work I prefer to do with synthetic brushes because the amount of paint that is retained by natural hair sorry, automatically leads to, at least with me, you know, this is a tiny drawing. I think it's 11 centimeters by 15 or something. So that means there's a lot of detail. And also I don't know if you can see that tiny splatter here, but that's what happens a lot when I paint with natural hair. It never happens when I paint with synthetic hair. So are you guys painters? Any of you? Is any of you, you know, are you all doing watercolor as well? Or are you beginning and exploring the medium? Catherine, I suspect, is more experienced watercolor person. The Molotov masking fluid is a little bit, is it a good word, repellent. It sort of pushes away the paint from the lines of masking fluid, which is kind of odd. And it just makes me lay down more paint to make sure that the paint stays close against those lines. You mostly work in acrylic. Yeah, I did. I started out in acrylics, and I love. This was a mistake I did. This was a mistake I made. The lights are the lights that I have on for my video now, so that you guys can see it. They cause a flare on my work, and I had missed a few teeny weeny spots there. So now I have to go back in and try and make what I do now an unseen little intervention. It's not easy and I'm running out of paint. So, well, I'm kind of like, you know, perfectionist in this way. You don't have to be with watercolor. Watercolor can be a really great medium for intuitive painting. And for more rough edges. But I like the in this illustrative style. I like the precision. I started out in acrylics years back. Oh, mixed media. That was before it became, you know, such a big success. And I still love it, and I'm, you know, I like it. I have a feel for it. But, you know, the reason I stopped painting in mixed media is because it's a really silly reason, but I don't like how it clogs up my studio, because with mixed media, you need everything, right? With watercolor, it's like, what do you need? You need your watercolors, you need a brush, you need a little towel, you need some water, paper, sketch if you have it, or you can just work, you know. But with mixed media, you need everything. It's not what do you need, it's what do you have. And then you just lay it all out on the table, and there you go. I'm giving you the worst possible example. I'm going back into the painting when it's not dried yet. That's not going to give a really beautiful result. Golden high flow acrylic. Yeah, they do act like watercolor. I bought them once and I hated them because, you know, they're not watercolor and they're not acrylic. So I was like, well, they are acrylics, but they are, you know, different, and I had to get used to them. So I was a bit bummed out by them, to be, I think that's the better word. Okay, so I'm going to turn this pale pink into a more purple shade. And to do so, I'm using my the indigo that I've already used here. So one of the other tricks about watercolor painting, any painting really, is not to take in too many colors at once. You know, when I do illustrations, sometimes I don't even worry about that. But when you want to have, like, this painting consists of only a few colors, and that's why these colors go together well. When I would invite a new blue into my painting, it would look different, and it might not be that great together with the rest. I need to add a little bit of pink because it's getting too gray. And only Gandalf can be very gray, not my pink. I need a little bit more pink in there. You know, what I used to do with acrylics is I would buy, you know, the good tubes, and I would dilute them like you can with watercolor. And officially it says you can't, but you know, I've never experienced much trouble with that. And I would use them as watercolor. I hope you didn't hear that, but I think you did. That's me getting a message. So I always take a little time. Sorry for making throat noise, but I have a frog in my throat. Yes, this is kind of pale, right? I need a lot of time for my mixes. I take a lot of time for my mixes because I want them to be just right. Yeah. That's a lovely subdued tone. Good morning, everyone. We're with 12 now. And I was already pleased to have 4 people here awake in the morning. Welcome to my live painting. Oh, right, Fedev, that was oh, Catherine, you were in the vlogging group. That was lovely, wasn't it? That was really, really great. Oh, that was such, yeah. I think it was the second year that ended a bit dramatic for me then, or ended. The Vedev ended a bit dramatic then. Right. So the thing is, sometimes I feel a bit guilty because I sometimes don't recognize people if they come to my live, broadcast or anything. It's because, some people have different usernames on different platforms. So sometimes I don't know. And also, sometimes, there's just, I've been teaching online and there have been so many people and I sometimes, mix them up or, so yes, you were in the Vedev group. Okay, that brings back memories. That was an intense time, but a great time too. I taught online in Livebook. That was really the Crafty Mountain Gal. I'm going to look it up. So you have a YouTube channel as well? Okay, so this faded moth, I'm gonna try and right now it's a rather flat surface. I'm gonna try and make it a little bit more wavy and three-dimensional by drawing in the bleak purple lines. Something is beginning to wake up in my memory, Catherine. I think I've been following you too for a long time. Maybe I still do. I've been putting myself on a social media diet for a pretty long time now. So I'm not actually around on Facebook anymore, and I deleted my account there. So YouTube is practically the only place where I still am. Although I don't think YouTube, it's kind of social and nice here now, but I don't think it's really, like a social medium. It doesn't feel like that to me. I run into people here who have the same interests as me, way more than I did on Facebook. So kind of like it way better over here. Oh, what's that? Somebody's at my door. Okay, no, they were just putting in some, I don't know what, I have to go check out what it was. But as you can hear, I'm well defended. And I'm expecting another parcel because I ordered another book no, I didn't. No, my husband ordered a book for me that I wanted to have for a long time. It's also a graphic novel. by Julie Doucet. Julie Doucet, or Doucet, Canadian, a Canadian graphic novelist. And she made a lot of zines, called them Dirty Plot. And she collected all of those zines in a very, very big book. So, and I really, really love that. And I've been wanting to have that for a long time. It was so expensive. Well, not expensive. It was a lot of money. I don't think it's expensive at all. But yeah, so now was my chance, you know. I was asked, what would you like to have for your birthday? First you say, oh, I don't need anything. And you don't mean it, of course, because it's definitely something you really want. So I want that. But we put in the order, only it's not shown up yet. And I'm beginning to get a bit worried about it. So yeah, holding my breath for that one. Oh, hold on. I have to take this off now. Because I want these wings to pop out of that background. Sort of to invite this creature in from her own fantasy world into my sketchbook, almost as if to say, you know, she's entering my life this way. Stepping from her fantasy world into my world. Hey, Sabia, good morning. You're late today, or you could also say you're early. YouTube and blog so abandoned. Yes. Yes, Catherine. I think it's all to do with Facebook that we all have abandoned our blogs. My blog has been, you know, it's about to die. It's on the verge of dying, and I really want to revive it because I loved that the blog time. It was the best time of all, you know. It was like I met so many, the contacts we had at that time, I think, were just so good. You know, it was such a close-knit community of artists at the time. And I was an online teacher back then already. I taught in online forums, which was really cool because that would all be with PDFs and not even any videos yet. So, but somehow there was something so, I don't know. I loved it. I really loved that time. And then Facebook came and changed the game completely, and I don't like it. Everything that's coming out in the news right now, and then Facebook denying all of that, you know, about them, you know, taking huge social risks by allowing certain behavior to happen on their platform only because they want to be able to have people online there more so they can sell more ads and make more money. All of that's true. Right now there's this whistleblower. She's in the news at the moment, and she's taking, you know, why do you say it? You know, she's in the line of fire, but a book's been published, An Ugly Truth about Facebook. It has been published, I think this summer or this spring, and it's a result of research done by two very good journalists, and they concluded the very, very same thing, and they too came with evidence. And Mark Zuckerberg is still saying, I don't recognize myself in what she says about me. I think that's a problem with this guy. He's lost all capability of seeing who he really is, seeing who he is and what he does. I'm not even making a logical 3D effect here, am I? No, I'm not. Oh my God. I've been painting so hard I didn't really watch out. So what do you do when that happens? You take a sturdy brush and you just try to wipe off as much paint as you can, basically. So I'm not going to wipe off everything because I would like to have this background still there. But I'm going to wipe off much, or dab off much. Haven't been there too much yet, so okay. Okay, now I need to do a little bit of thinking before I go in there again. Stuff like this happens, guys. Today's background color is a mixture of creamer indigo, and they call it real indigo, which I find a little bit hard to believe since, if I was correct, I thought indigo wasn't in the game anymore. It's a mixture of that and Perylene Green by, I think, Rembrandt. Let me see. It is, no, Schminky Horadam Perylene Green. Okay, going back in. Now, where would the shading be? I need a little line under here. I want this one to stand out. And then I want to create a wavy effect. So, and I won't be doing this in one layer. I'll be doing it in many layers because it's more beautiful that way. Okay. And this I'm just going to fill up with this color and add some shading later. So I'm going to leave this to dry and then go in for another couple of layers later. So from top to bottom, I'm working at a really strange angle right now for filming to make sure you guys can see it, but I'm holding up my book. Really strange. Yes, the Perylene Green and the indigo together are really great. They make for a beautiful night color. Oops. Oh, Catherine, that sounds complicated. Painting a snow globe. Oh my God, it's something I would never dare. I think it's lovely. If you pull it off, it's going to be amazing. But I'm guessing that sometimes your thinking might get in the way or not, you know, with how it works. Have you painted glass before? Because painting glass is so hard. And all the morphing it does to the surroundings. I've tried that a couple of times. So with the emphasis on tried. I never pulled off anything that I liked enough to even look at again, so they all ended up in the bin. It's very complicated. So I probably won't be able to finish this painting while I'm doing this live, because you know, doing watercolors is all about layer, layer, layers, layers, layers. And yesterday I painted for an hour and a quarter here, and then I finished the painting, and it took me another few hours to do so. So if you want to get that intense effect, it's so much more beautiful to stick to layering, even though it takes time, even though, you know, you have to wait a lot for paint to dry or use blow dryers. It's still so worth it to put in the effort and the time. It's going to make the difference, you know. There are so many, you know, sometimes people want to just move on really fast and say, you know what, I've got an hour and it should be finished in an hour. But I want to soften up the lines just a little bit, not too much, but I don't like hard edges. I know there are so many watercolorists who just lay down layers of paint and never look at it again. I always want to, you know, smooth the lines, soften up the lines. It's really weird. Both mornings that I did the lives, I was, you know, there were doves sitting outside my window. They wanted food. This morning, I decided to get up early and to feed the doves first. And I did. And there hasn't been one single dove in the garden. Isn't that ironic? Well, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So repeating, constant repeating. I'm not a very patient person in many respects. So sometimes people who know me are surprised that I am patient enough to do this. But it just gets so much more beautiful. Yes, glass is so hard. I think you're very brave, Catherine, for painting a snow globe. I remember when I was in art school, there was this one lady, and she wasn't very artistic. She wasn't very creative in her mind. So sometimes she would get, you know, bad marks for being unimaginative and unoriginal. But then there was this one assignment we had to do. It was about painting something you see that wasn't really there or something. And she chose to do a painting of a glass. And that was so beautiful. I think it was in that painting when she discovered what she could and wanted to do with her life creatively. And I was in awe. I watched her paint for days, and that was just amazing. And you'd think I'd have learned something from that, but the thing was, it's just so, it's such a, you have to be so good at just observing and painting what you observe and not getting away with your own thinking. And that was just, yeah, a little bit hard for me to do. Hello, Vigdis. You came in late. Love what you're seeing. Good. Great. Hey, Claudine. Good morning. Good to see you here. Welcome. Now I'm beginning to see names of people that I know, that I've known for a long time. It's really great. So I'm all luring you out of your beds and to YouTube early. Yeah. Okay. I'm going in once more with this. Just for some extra depth. And this time I only want to do the darkest areas. So the bottom halves of the wavy wings, of the wavy wing parts. So in here it's about equal on both sides. So here I may sorry. After that COVID isolation year, you know, I've been having a cold ever since I walked out of the house. And if one cold ended, the next would be there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting fall. Okay. So the layers I'm going over now are not yet fully dry, which is totally fine by me. Although I'm, oops, there is a lot of water running this way. It was not really what I intended. Anyway, I'll see. Sometimes you have to let things dry. And that was obviously one of those times. It's the thing, you know, some people don't like watercolor because it's so hard to control. I think that's something you learn to love in the end. You know, after some time, you learn that it's okay that you can't control this paint fully. And when you learn what watercolor loves to do, you can learn to use that to your advantage. And where's my brush gone to? Did anyone see where my brush is? Huh? What happened? Oh my god, I can't find my brush. Huh? This is crazy. Oh, I have this all the time. Did anyone see where my brush rolled off to? It can't be far. Huh? This is really crazy. Where did it go? Did it fall on the floor? Hold on. You're all laughing your socks off right now. You've all seen where the brush is, and you're not telling me. Nah, this is weird. I'm gonna call this the brush incident, and it feels like a Monday morning. What can it be? Oh, Claudine, you're in your local bistro. That's a really great idea. I've been meaning to do that, to sit down in a cafe somewhere and have a coffee early in the morning. But guys, I really don't know where my brush is. Has anyone seen it go anywhere? I am flabbergasted. I really am. Where did it roll off to? Oh my God. You know, I have this drawing table, and my husband created several. Well, it can't, you know, what? You know what? I think I conjured up an elf by painting this, and it's stealing my brush to annoy me. Must be something like that. Oh my God. This is insane. Where did it go? Oh, here it is behind. How can it end up being behind? Well, let's forget it. I've got it. It's really the craziest place it ended up. Behind, you know, my camera is here, right over my work. Then here is my palette. Behind the palette is my tablet, so I can see your remarks in the chat. And then my painting, my brush ended up behind the tablet. So yeah, I think there is an evil house elf in the house playing a nasty game. But my paint got the chance to dry just a tad, which I'm using to my advantage. So this has become quite dark. Darker than it did with the other creatures I painted. Okay, so I'm going to, this area is going to need some more shading, and I'm going to do that later when it's dry, and this area as well. But I'm going to give it some time to dry now because it's going to stain, pretty much, and it's okay, I don't mind. But so this belongs to the costume. And by saying that, I immediately made her into an actor. Now, as for the body colors, I'm going to give that the ochre earth tones, the glowing earth tones. And I'm also, you know, this is the body, and here is the face, and I could do two things. I could turn her into a human being by making, you know, a natural skin color, and I won't. I want to make her a creature. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so skin colors. I'm going to turn around my palette, and I'm going to, so these are the colors I've used before for the other creatures. Frankenstein's bride vibes. Good. You know, I like it when something is pretty, beautiful, cute, and scary or itchy at the same time. I like to make drawings with, you know, I like it when they bite you just a bit. Oh my God, 4 years ago. Yeah, she should be just a little bit scary. Okay, so the colors I'm using is Monte Amiata by Daniel Smith. It's a color that Caroline, my friend in America, sent to me once, and she said, "This is the most beautiful ochre I know," and I agree with her. It's more yellow, and it's also rather vibrant. So for an undertone, I really love to use that. There was a cat's hair. My cats have the horrible habit, which is nice alliteration, but they have the horrible habit of sleeping on my palette. And that results in lots of cat hairs where I don't want them. Need to add a little bit more water. Right. So I actually painted a creature with two mouths, basically, because where her nose should have been, had she been human, is now a rolling tongue. And that is a mouth, not a nose. But who cares? This is, an imaginary creature. So you can do pretty much everything you want to. It doesn't have to be realistic. You're going home. I think I'll be here, Claudine. I think I'll be here in 10 minutes from now. See you then. I won't finish this one while I am online, but I'll stay a bit longer because I want to, I want to have the first layers finished so you can see where she's going and that I can see where she's going. And actually it's not really that bad to give her this ochre undertone because it's a color I also use in human portraits. So it's not that far off from what I know. Okay, so now we're getting to the interesting part where I'm going to have to make a decision about the wings. And my decision is I'm going to just blend in. And that was it. And I gave her breasts because I wanted her to be female, and that's what we humans know females by. So fantasy mixture of creatures, but also this butterfly has got eyes that are really round, close together. So it's a repetition of shapes I saw in the butterfly as well. Okay. So I have some paint left. I'm going back in certain areas to add a little bit more paint and to immediately add a little bit of, color intensity and shading as well. A little tray for my brushes. Yeah. If I have a tray for my brushes, I had one, then I just lay down my brushes right next to them. Seriously, I'm absolutely clumsy. My husband, I have this wonderful slanted worktop. Um, I can't film on that, but when I lay down my camera after filming, I start working on that again. And we figured out all kinds of ways for me to put my brushes on there without them falling off. But believe you me, I succeed every time in losing my brushes. It's just when I'm focused on something else and I let go of the brush, there they go. They go on a journey again. Okay, I'm immediately, while it's still wet, I'm going back in with a little bit of, I think it's Quinacridone Orange by Rembrandt. And while it's still wet, I'm going to go in for some shading. Not too much, just to make, you know, let's give it a little bit of a sense of 3D. Okay. Going to do that for the neck as well, which is of course a rather dark area. And okay. So okay, we're getting somewhere. The wings have dried enough for me now to move in with a little bit of green. As you can see, this moth has a pattern with olive green, and I have sort of recreated that pattern with pencil lines. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go in with some watercolor paint. So mixing a color that's slightly more towards the olive green end. So slightly more brownish, and I want it to be just a tad more dark. Yeah. Okay. If you hear any noise right now, it's people. There is a company right down our street, and they have a gardener today. So he's gonna probably trim the hedges, I think it sounds like. And you might be hearing that. I'm not sure if my camera picks up. Goodbye, Catherine, and sleep well. And have very good luck with your snow globe. I want to see it when it's done. I'm going to look you up. I need quite a bit of paint on my brush because the first layers were actually quite dark. Oops, that's a bit too dark. So I'm recreating this pattern of the butterfly, sort of, you know. My paper is buckling a bit, so the lines are not very straight. They curled up, which I don't like very much, but yeah, I notice you can't even see what I'm doing when I'm painting this way. Sorry guys, but I can't change that. I need to get there with my hands. So all right. I need to start mixing in some more of this paint. Okay. Gonna turn my my paper around so that it's more easier for me to do. What insect is it again? Angle shades. It's called an angle shades moth. And I don't know if you guys have it over there on the other side of the Atlantic, but I suspect you do, because I suspect it's a moth that we have in common. And in Dutch, it's called agaatvlinder, and is a is a gate. No, I don't know the name of the gem. It's a gem in which they make slices, and that has these patterns, and it comes in purple and green. And because this butterfly has a similar pattern, that's what it's called in Dutch. It's called after the pattern. Okay. I used so many layers over this paint that I have a hard time seeing my pencil lines anymore. So I rubbed and dabbed just a tad too hard. It's my bad. Yeah, well, and then I absolutely lost that line, so I have to make a good guess here what it was that I had planned. Don't know what that was, but it sounded like someone dropped something. Yeah, I think this is about it. I'm going to leave it like this, the pattern, and I'm going back in there after it's dry. Because it needs a little more emphasis here and there. So where is everyone else from? I know that Catherine's from Montana, and is everyone here now from the United States anymore? Or have most of them, or nearly all of them, gone to bed? Thank you, Catherine. Yes, I love her too. I think she can be really great. Okay, so adding a little bit of shading already, going in with that. Just very lightly. And usually I go over that again with a lighter color. Okay, so what color hair will I give her? And eyes. I'm going to give her yellow eyes. So I'm going to use nickel azo yellow for that, of course. What else? She's a night creature. She should have yellow eyes, right? I like the background. I'm not going to do anything to the background anymore, I think. Or should I make... No, I'm not going to do anything more. So I'm going to rub this off. Only, it might not be very easy because it's very sticky, and I hope that it's going to come off as it should. No, it doesn't. No. This is a bummer. I think that this stuff, it doesn't come off like it should. It should just, you know, come off in a single skin, but it's super sticky when it's like, no, this is not, I don't like this stuff. Okay, fingers crossed for the next one. Maybe it works better when you lay down a very thin layer. Maybe that's the problem. Now I need a little bit more of that mixture, just some very, very teeny tiny bit to fill up these little areas here. It didn't become quite as tight a line as I'd hoped it would. I think next time I'm going to go in with other masking fluids. I think it's good enough this way. I think I'm going to leave it like this. Yes. Okay. And now for using the same colors, I'm going back in with this mixture of perylene green and indigo. I'm going to draw the line around the eyes. And that's all I do. I'm not going to draw anything else yet. I did this to sort of bring out her character already, because it changes the moment you draw that little line. Everything changes in her, and it's what I use. It's only a super little detail of reference, but I use it for the rest of my painting to finish that. So I'm going to give it another, let's say, about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go because it's and then I'm going to finish the painting like I did with this one yesterday that I finished after the live. I considered whether I should perhaps you know, do do a painting especially for this, or a little something. But the thing is, this is what I'm working on, so this is what I wanted to show you guys, rather than, you know, oh yeah, rather than, you know, doing something completely different. This is my process. This is what I'm working on right now. And even if I can't show everything, every part of that process, now you get a little idea of how I work. And there is still a little bit of that techiness left of the masking fluid. I don't like that. Right, so now what I want is, she's a woman. I'm going to give her a little bit of a blush. Not that every woman needs a blush, but hi Claudine, you're back from the bistro. I envy you to be in the bistro this morning. Oh God, I should do that too. Been meaning to do that for a long time. I just don't. Oh, this sank right into my page. Okay, changing the color of the face. Hold on. This PV19 really wants to be in the paper. So then I'm using the next technique. So I'm going to go over that later. I'm going to leave this to dry, and then I'm going to go over that with the Monte Amiata again to pull together the colors in the face again. And then I'm not going to do much about the face anymore, except for adding highlights and defining the eye a little bit more. And I have to think of a color I want to use for the hair. And I think I'm going back in for this brown that I chose yesterday, which is Burnt Umber by Rembrandt. By the way, all those earth tones, if you're looking to buy good earth tones, then there's one thing very important, is that, you know, if you buy burnt umber from one brand, it will definitely not be the same color as a burnt umber from another brand. I've noticed that when I composed my ideal palette. Um, so this is something to look into before you buy any colors. And I'm also going to add a touch of red. Oh, it's very dark. This is Auburn. Let me see. This is a color I would like, and I still need to make an appointment with a hairdresser. Still haven't been to see one after COVID. No, I want to have a little bit of quinacridone orange in there. I need her to have a little bit of fire in her hair because I think she's got a pretty strong character for some reason. I think it's in her gaze. Yeah. Good. Now we're getting somewhere. Yes. Okay. How light do I want this to be in the hair? Let's see. Yeah, need a bit more water. 2 drops. Let's see. You can stay there forever. No, that's a thing. If you order a coffee or a tea, you can only stay for a certain amount of time. Although I think that's in Belgium, it's much more normal for people to be in the cafe than over here. If you go to the cafe over here, you'll find in the morning that it's nearly empty, that hardly anyone's there. So you can stay inside a cafe or a bistro for a long time before they kick you out on one tea. Maybe that's why people call us frugal in the Netherlands, but it's not our fault. It's just not anyone showing up in cafes in the morning. What kind of sketchbook am I using? This is a Moleskine watercolor. I think this is the large. They call it large. It isn't really large, but no, it's Moleskine. And it's the paper is quite thin, but it holds water really well. I think from all the watercolor journals that I have, I really like my Moleskine most, so I keep buying it. And normally I buy them myself, but I had an idea for a new watercolor book that I was going to make, and I thought that I was going to do a little embroidery project. So I did. I had never embroidered before, and I had also come up with the idea that I was going to make a fully filled embroidery. And you only come up with such ideas when you don't know anything about it, because boy, that's a lot of work. So my book is still not finished, and I think I'm going to have to bind another book without the embroidery project, and come up with a really good idea for a beautiful cover that's not embroidered, because it's just too much work. So much more work than I'd anticipated. So I started another Moleskine, but I've got my paper and everything in the house. So I might buy myself another book soon, because then I can use the papers that I love most, which is in my sketchbooks I always use Canson Monval. Yes, yes, yes. Come back, Catherine. Yeah, it's just YouTube finds my videos, my live videos, very, very long because usually sometimes I want to go back into a live video later and edit something out, or cut off the beginning minutes because those are usually the minutes I'm waiting for people to get in, or that I'm adjusting my camera or something. But every time I want to edit my live videos, YouTube turns out to have a hard time um, finishing my videos so that I can actually um, edit them. So the one I finished yesterday took me many hours to finish. Um, I think this is not going to take me that long, but it's still I can't you know can't be online that long. Well, you can technically, you can, but yeah, it's a bit long. And I have to say, it's really great to be here, but it is very intense. So at the end of a live, I'm usually rather tired. Just I think it's because you do two things at the same time. You're painting, and at the same time you try to keep an eye on the chat, and you're thinking about other things as well while you paint. Whereas when I lay down the camera in a couple of minutes, it's just me and the painting. It doesn't take as much energy. Right, so I need a little bit more of Van Dyke Brown. I'm going to make it a tad darker. And I'm going to do exactly the same as I just did. I'm going to This is taking a risk, by the way, if you add intensity and darkness to your paintings this way. It doesn't always come together the way you want to. Sometimes it leads to undesired staining and blooming and things like that. Catherine says, love seeing it from sketch to first layers and finish it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Finding another book is on my to-do list somewhere. Yeah, somewhere, exactly. I think as long as I still have paper, I don't feel pushed hard enough. Yes. Well, I like I like doing these live moments. If I make a video, the editing also takes up a lot of energy, and this is fun energy, like being with people. I like the company, and yeah, I also like sharing the process that I'm going through at the moment, the creative things I'm doing. Thank you, Claudine, for your compliment. I'm doing my best. Sometimes, after I did a live, I find myself pondering, what did I say? Did I say anything stupid? Should I leave my video online, or should I take it down? Because when you're going live, sometimes you find yourself saying something you didn't want to say, or sometimes I make a remark or a joke that I find incredibly funny, but that people might find very offensive. And that's the thing with YouTube, it's a video. You can't go back later and say, well, you can say, that's not the way I meant, it's not what I meant to say, but you're not there to explain that to anyone. And I've already noticed that there are cultural differences, and sometimes people don't like my sense of humor. So sometimes I feel like I'm not doing that well in being live. But yeah, I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Okay. Yes, it is a good world to connect. It is. I think it's a really great way also of, in my former two live recordings, there were two people who had problems sleeping. So for them, it was quite relaxing. And for me at the same time, it's a really good way of waking myself up to actually really sit down in my studio and immediately do something creative. So I don't have any time. My mind doesn't have the time to wander off and to start pondering about things, or, to do other stuff that gets in the way of my work. It immediately immerses me into my work, which is what I like about it. Yesterday, a friend of mine said to me, you should monetize this, you should ask money for it. But the thing is, I like to do this when I can do it, when I feel like doing it. um, that's the thing with monetizing. The moment you say, okay, I need you guys to pay me $10 a month or $5 a month to do these live recordings, then I have to do them. And the thing is that maybe sometimes I can't, or it all depends on the flow as well, what kind of flow I'm in. And but I like this. This stimulates my flow, I have to say. Um, so yeah, I really like being here, and I like it that you like it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing it for. But people, I'm going to call it a day, or rather, I'm going to call it an early morning, because I can't finish her completely to the extent that this one is finished in. So there's going to be many more layers involved before I get to this kind of color intensity where the figure just pops off the page. But she will eventually. But I'm going to do that offline. And I hope you like these live videos. I intend to do more. I wanted to give myself a week to try, so I'll be doing this tomorrow morning as well. It will be around 9 in the morning, maybe a little earlier or a little bit later. It's Amsterdam time. I'm calling it Amsterdam time because now I know that winter and summertime also changes the time zone things, and I get terribly confused about it. So I'm just guessing that when you guys type into the internet Amsterdam time, you will know what your time is. So, um, so around 9. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, you want to be notified, you can subscribe, and you will get. I will do a post about it saying at what time I'll be online exactly. So you guys can see that beforehand. I choose to say that only a little while up front because I'm not always 100% sure the day before when I go live, but tomorrow I know it's going to be around 9 somewhere. Can be half an hour earlier, half an hour later. And I'll be doing either another sketch or I'll be doing something playful with watercolor. I have no idea at this moment. First, I want to finish this lady, and then I'll get back to thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow. So, Catherine, okay, thank you. Yeah, my humor is something that's can be quite a beast when it's released into the wild, and not everybody appreciates it, but I'm glad you appreciate it. And I have to say, I've been a little bit mild, but yeah. Okay, great, Claudine. That's agreed. We'll meet again here tomorrow morning, and I'm glad I could do something nice for you to start the day. I think it's really important. This is also one of the things I feel I can contribute to, well, the world of at least a few people, some colorfulness in the morning. So thank you everybody for having been here. I very much enjoyed your presence, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you have a good day or a good night if you're across the Atlantic and the moon is still waiting to cradle you. Then, and I hope to see you again next time, tomorrow or some other time. Bye bye.